Praise the Lord Jesus Christ. I hope you are doing well. And this is part 2 of the topic that I'm talking about, which is generational blessings versus generational curses, and it is upon us to you choose. So it is me to choose and you to choose which path you are going to follow, because according to the video that I have done previously, I have said that when we observe in most families, you find that in most families there is the line of blessings, there is a generational blessings. Like you find in those people in that family, those people of that family, they are blessed. Maybe you find in a family people are blessed in business, they are doing well in business, they are blessed maybe with some kind of knowledge, maybe wisdom, they are blessed. Some families you find in some families they are good in school, they are professionals who are employed, God gave them that gift. You find that in some families they are doing well maybe in marriage. You find that in some families they know God. When they meet to God together, they start talking about God, how good God is, how I'm born again, how I love God. You find that a family has got that kind of a grace. They have the revelation of God. People in that family, they know God. And you find that in the same family, maybe there are divisions, maybe there is hatred, there is quarreling, there is unforgiveness, there is bitterness. So God has a purpose for most of the families. And if all, I can say all God has a purpose for all families. And also God, the devil targets the families that God has chosen. And that is why you find that in every family there is a generational kind of pattern of wickedness. There are generational pattern, like in this family you find they are chronic liars. You find that in a family people are chronic, abusers. They beat wives in that family. In that family maybe they are adulterers, they are fornicators. They don't they are not faithful to their partners. They sleep around. In other families you find that they are drinking. So what I'm saying that is that in every family there is the God fruit, and there is the devil thing that the devil wants to continue flowing in that family, and there is the good fruit that God has planted in that family. And in some family you may find that, because sometimes in the past somewhere I heard someone say that if you find that the family has a history of witchcraft, maybe that in that family there is a history when maybe people have been born again and they are praying and they are feeling in the spirit that they are fighting witchcraft, they are fighting powers of witchcraft. Or maybe when they try to seek and to know the truth from what happened in the past, they know that in the past there was witchcraft. It is because in that family is chosen by God to be a family of light, to be the family that shines the light of Jesus Christ. And because the devil has the ability to see into the future, like we can see even in the story of Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ was born, the people that went to read his star and they saw that Jesus Christ would be the king. I read and I heard that those people who read and they saw that Jesus would become a king, they were not godly people. They were people from the kingdom of darkness. And that is why after they knew that Jesus Christ would become a king, they wanted to kill him, because they used evil spirits to know the future. So you find that people who are called to shine the light of God, the devil comes before that they come to know God through Jesus. And those people, you find that they have a history of a witchcraft. Those people used to be witches. Maybe they are the people whom people went to go to them to consult evil powers, but the original power of God was for that people to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. So God has a purpose and a plan for every family. And when people start seeking him at the beginning, he tells them that this is what I have planned for you. But it is not every one of God's plan and purpose succeeds, because God works together with us. We are workers together with God. We are partners together with God. God doesn't do everything by himself, but God works together with us. We have our part and God has his part, and it all depends with what God tells us as individual to do, and it also depends on what God tells us as families to do, because there are things that God tells you, like as family do this, and there is the responsibility of every person, because God has a purpose and a plan for every individual, and it is upon us to follow and to obey God so that we can reach the full potential of what he wants us to be. And that is what I was trying to talk about. And also when we read that in the story of, when we read in the Bible, like I was reading in the Bible about the story of David. Like, for example, David was someone who was chosen by God, and God has promised him, God had anointed him to be king, and God had promised him that his lineage would become a blessing and they would rule forever. But because of the sin of David, because in the book of let me talk about Abraham first, because Abraham first of all lied. I'm trying to say that sins can be generational, and curses can be generational, and blessings can be generational. And what happens in your own generation, even though you are from that family, it all depends on what you choose. Because, like, for example, Abraham lies about Sarah in Genesis chapter 12 verse 11 to 13, and he was about to enter Egypt. He said to his wife, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. Say you are my sister, so that I will not be treated be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you." So there was famine in Canaan, and Abraham was afraid that people would mistreat him because his wife was very beautiful, and he lied. And Isaac repeats the exact same lie about Rebekah in Genesis chapter 26 verse 7. When the men of the place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," because he was afraid to say she is my wife. He thought the men of the place might kill me on account of Rebecca because she's beautiful. So we see that sometimes there are instances that happened, and the situations that happened to your father that made him that maybe marry two wives. And sometimes maybe you get angry, why did my father marry two wives? But it is their circumstances that forced him. And when you grow up, you face the same circumstances, and you repeat the same sin, because that is what we are seeing. Abraham lied about his wife, that the wife is the sister. His son also, Isaac, he lied the same thing, under the same condition of being afraid. So we see that there was the same condition of famine, and then there was the pressure that exposes what is inside, and then the pressure, it removes comfort, and fear arises, and then after fear arises, then there is lying. So you see that the reason as to why the patterns repeat is because there are some certain kind of conditions that happen to people, and because of their weakness, you find that the patterns continue to repeat themselves. So yes, it's a pattern. They are generational triggers. The devil targets the same pressure, the same pressure point in a family line. Abraham, Isaac, the same people, they faced famine, and the same people they had fear, and both of them they lied. So you see that in the case of David also, David he slept with Bathsheba. David also, he saw Bathsheba, she was bathing, and she liked her even though she was married, and he killed the Bathsheba's husband Uriah. And also the same thing happened because of David sleeping with someone else's wife. God pronounced a curse, there would be a sword in the family. And because David killed Uriah, Bathsheba's wife, because of sleeping with him, because he had lust, the same thing also happened to his own children. So you find that Amnon slept, and Amnon, who was David's son, he also slept with his half sister Tamar, and also Tamar, who was David's daughter. She had a brother Absalom, so Absalom killed Amnon. So what I'm trying to say, because I can see that I'm not able to complete what I have written, is that curses repeat in families because there are sins that maybe were done in the family, and the curse is hanging in the sky, but someone has not repented for them. And also because there are patterns that people are taught, and they keep on repeating those patterns, and that's why the blessings that God intended for people and individuals, they do not happen as God had planned. But in the book of Ezekiel chapter 18 verse 20, it says, "The son shall not suffer for the iniquity of the father. If the son turns away from sin. The soul who sins shall die. So the will of God is for everybody to suffer for the